I went to the bank to withdraw all my savings. The clerk put this much money on the table. I asked them to exchange all of it to Canadian dollars. Do you know how much 435 million Vietnam dong looks like in Canadian dollars? Hi everyone, welcome to the theirisproject. In this first episode, I will talk to you about how to save money from zero. I implemented these 7 tips and habits to save 24,717 Canadian dollars while I was living in a third world country. I still continue to use these tips and strategies to save more than 55% of my income in Canada. Okay, let's get started. First, you have to have a strong enough why. Ask yourself the question, why? Why do you want to save money? Find a quiet time to sit down and write the answer on the piece of paper. Dig deep. Find the real reason behind the first answer. Why, Iris? What does this have to do with saving money? Knowing why will provide you with a strong, solid standpoint so that you will have a laser focus and won't get sidetracked on things that doesn't matter. You need a certain self-awareness to come up with the why that resonate most with you. And don't mistake what other wants and what you want to have in life. For me, throughout all my childhood, I have this burning desire to move abroad, to live my life to the fullest and to see the world out there. At the time, my mom lost everything from running her business, and our family was in tons and tons of debt. I knew that my family won't have enough money to support me living overseas. So I have to be the person that is responsible to make my dream come true. At the time, I didn't know how. I didn't even have any money. But I have a strong enough why. And if your why is strong enough, you will figure out the how. By the time I was 18, I moved to a big city and I started working and saving diligently every single month. Finally, by 2018, I had enough money to move to Canada. To put everything in perspective, when I started to work, I make less than 6,000 Canadian dollars a year, which is probably fewer than most people make in North America in less than a month or 2 months. So if I can do this, living in a third world country, you can do it too. No matter where you live or how much you make, start saving now. Small at first, but then you can increase it over time using my next tip. To have an idea of your spending habit, I recommend you to start tracking your expenses. Just start for a few months, and then when you look back, you can see the trend, what you spend the most on food, eating out, shopping, etc. For example, if you spend 30% of your money eating out, see if you can reduce it. Cut down on those costs means more money to save. Right now, I solely use app to track all of my expenses. It becomes a habit for me. So every time I buy something, I will pull out the app and put down the number right away. It's very easy. After knowing your spending habit, let's move on tip number 3. Automate your saving is the best strategy for you to increase your saving. And better yet, it uses none of your willpower. This is exactly what I did the first time I got my paycheck. I went straight to the bank and asked them to cut 50% of my paycheck and put it right away into my saving account. Literally 50% of my income is gone and I only have 50% left to spend. Why 50%, you asked? Because from tracking my expenses, tip number 2, I knew that I only need less than 50% to pay for all my expenditure. For you, you don't need to put in 50% of your income into your saving account. If after tracking your expense, you know that you can only be able to put in 35%. But I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what number you come up with. Just start opening your saving account and automatically put in your money and you will see amazing results. Number 4, don't touch the money in your saving account. Set aside an emergency fund for you in case anything happens. For me, back in Vietnam, I have a main 6-month saving account. It had a higher interest rate compared to 1-month period saving account. I also open a 1-month saving account in case of an emergency, and I will be able to take out that money instead of withdrawing money from my main saving account. So whatever you do, remember, do not take out the money. I can't emphasize this enough. It's a little bit different in Canada because the interest rate is not as high compared to Vietnam. Right now, I use an online saving account for a higher interest rate. I also invest my money in TFSA and RRSP. If you want me to make a video talking about how I save and invest money in Canada, please leave a comment below. Fifth tip that I want to mention is your mindset. Back in the day when I wanted to save a lot of money, I adopted a minimalism lifestyle. This is totally different than consumerism lifestyle. Because of that, I became more and more aware how social media collected all your data and make sure that they will give better targeted advertisement. And the more you see those advertisements, the higher chance you might buy something that you end up will regret later. But do you really want those things? And I will tell you what I did to reduce the impulse purchase. Let's move on to tip number 5. Delay instant gratification. Give it at least a week. Now, what do you mean by that, Iris? Anytime you have the urge to buy something, give it at least 5 to 7 days to see if you still like this item and still want to buy it. This method will help reduce the impulse purchase and buy remorse. Also, before buying anything, ask yourself, do I need it? Instead of, do I want it? A sub-tip that I want to mention is when you use your credit card to purchase things, please make sure that you have enough money to pay back your credit card debt right away. I only use credit card when I want to have benefits like cashback or air mileage. I don't use credit card to buy things when I know that I can't pay it off right away. Say no to debt and purchase that you will end up regret later. Last but not least, I want to talk about lifestyle creep. Some people, when they have higher salary or higher income, they tend to spend more money. For me, when I have more income, I increase my saving more. So always make sure to live below your means. When I started working, my saving increased slowly throughout the years because I was not making a lot of money back then. The last 2 years before I came to Canada, my saving increased exponentially. Because I still live my minimalism lifestyle, and I didn't really want to spend money in any big purchases. I drove my dad's motorbike that he handed out to me. I cut my own hair. I still cut my own hair now. I still rented out a cheap place to live instead of moving into a bigger, more expensive apartment. I was able to put in my savings way over my 50% of my saving goal. And since I emphasize experience over material, I was able to build a budget travel saving goal. I was able to backpack around quite a bit before I moved to Canada. When you know your strong reason why you want to save money, and then you start implementing all the tips that I just laid out, some people might tell you that if you have this much money, why don't you buy this, buy that? Why don't you live in a better apartment or drive a better car? It doesn't matter what others say. What matters is that you know what is the best for you. So don't let what others say dictate how you want to live your life. Back to the story, in 2018, I finally had enough money to move to Canada. So I went to the bank to withdraw all my savings. The clerk put this much money on the table, and I asked them to exchange all of it to Canadian dollars. Do you know how much 435 million Vietnam dong look like in Canadian dollars? Only this much. And I put all of my life savings in the backpack and drove away, ready for a new journey. Remember, money is not everything, but it's a means to an end. If the barrier between you and your dream is money, You can do everything to make it happen. Live audaciously. Life is too short to live someone else's dream. Thank you for coming to the Iris Project. Make sure to subscribe to my channel right now. Just click the button below to subscribe. This way, I can provide more valuable content to you. In the future videos, I would talk about how I got my jobs in Canada, how to speak English fluently, how to deal with your first winter abroad. Share this video to someone that you think will benefit them. I will see you very, very soon.